Going into entrepreneurship can often be compared to leaving Egypt for the promised land. However, it's not an easy journey by any means. How can we best approach adversity or challenges? Are you an entrepreneur or solopreneur that fights overwhelm or impostor syndrome? Are you an aspiring entrepreneur and have no idea where or how to start your business? Or are you an accomplished business, but you have seasons where you have to navigate between feast or famine? This show is for you, and I will share a different perspective for fighting the uphill battles of owning a business. We'll be right back. You are listening to the Work Life Eubiosis podcast with your host, Charleston Edwards. If this is your first time here, welcome. My goal is simple: to eradicate burnout and to bring harmony, purpose, and balance to this world, starting with the family. My hope is that this show and the story shared will provide encouragement and ideas that will be valuable to you on your journey to work-life freedom. So let's dive in to today's episode. Four years ago, as I entered my second stint of entrepreneurship, I made a comment to a dear friend that I felt like I was entering the wilderness. At the time, I was reading through the biblical account of the Israelites' 40-year journey out of Egypt into the Promised Land. I had synonymized my journey out of the rat race to the story of the Israelites leaving Egypt. The Israelites were tested in the wilderness. They had to fight fear. They had to overcome weaknesses. They had giants, literally, blocking their way. They had to navigate many tough days. They had to release their comforts of Egypt and rely on God's daily provision. They needed a divine intervention. From the perspective of any reader of this ancient story, the wilderness could be looked at as a time of miraculous blessings or a time of divine testing. Both were true. When I referenced my personal story of being in the wilderness, this was a commitment to the journey. This is the story of most entrepreneurs. There are seasons of testing. The comfortable life is turned upside down into the unknown. The wilderness is where our faith is tested. Most of us entrepreneurs know where we want to go, but don't know how to get there exactly. We never know the exact timing. We constantly have to face our giants of fear, comparison, impostures, and scarcity. But in this wilderness, with all these dangers, there are blessings when we shift our reliance. Not on the reliance of our strength to conquer our fears, but the direction of God. Most of us are still in the wilderness and will remain in the wilderness. And this is not necessarily a bad thing, because it's the wilderness that molds us, grows us, and continues to humble us towards a greater power than our own. For anyone who goes right into entrepreneurship, already knows that it's an extremely tough journey that has many rewards. A journey that both tests and blesses. There will be failures, hard days, and sometimes very exciting wins. Some days we want to give up. Some days we will move forward. Some days we just want to go back to Egypt, where we're guaranteed the security of the 2-week paycheck. But what usually keeps us from going back is the thought of selling our soul. No, working a 9-to-5 or being a W-2 is not a place to lose your soul. Some people are called there and are meant to have a meaningful impact. But conforming to rat race ambitions is where we can get trapped on the treadmill to nowhere. That goes for both entrepreneurs and employees. Entrepreneurship does not promise fame or financial freedom. Some entrepreneurs actually do find themselves rich and famous, and that's good for them, especially when they can turn their blessings into blessings for others. But the rich and famous are the minority. For the average entrepreneur, every single day is a journey in the wilderness, a journey of facing fears, facing confusion, and growing even more reliant on God and others. Poetically, but not ironically, this is the ultimate mission of humankind, which is to love God and to love others. It's the greatest of all commandments as stated by Jesus, and a gift that goes full circle when we give. We receive back. David Brooks wrote this in his book, The Second Mountain. Quote, "Most of us don't get marched in front of a firing squad and then pardoned. Most of us learn gradually over seasons of suffering and often in the wilderness. The lesson is that the things we had thought were most important, like achievement, affirmation, intelligence, are actually less important, and the things we had undervalued, heart and soul, are actually most important." He continues to say, maybe some of us will learn these lessons while racking up success after success, or just being thoroughly loved. But for most of us, the process is different. We have a season when we chase the shallow things in life. We are not fulfilled. Then comes hardship, which exposes the heart and soul. The heart and soul teach us that we cannot give ourselves what we desire most. Fulfillment and joy are on the far side of service. Only then are we really able to love. Only then are we able to begin the second journey. End of quote. The second journey is the entrepreneurial wilderness. The second journey is not a corporate ladder, it's a mountain. The second journey is a wilderness experience, a labor of love per se, that fulfills the deepest part of our souls. This episode is brought to you by Own Your 5 to 9, an organization committed to freeing families of the rat race and burnout. Every organization has a leader, mission, and a set of values that drives the organization. But this is commonly missed in the most important organization in the world, the family. An organization has one mission for how it will impact the world. Why not the family? An organization goes into strategic planning routinely to align its values, mission, and projects. Why not the family? Whose Home, a strategic planning guide for families, is a workbook and a tool needed in all households. Whose Home takes a strategic planning approach with 10 guided exercises to define your core family values, family mission, and tools to operationalize how your family does life together. If your family is facing a big decision, Whose Home is for you. If you're considering a career pivot, Whose Home is also for you. If you desire more intentionality and harmony in your home, Whose Home is for you. Create a healthy culture, not a hustle culture, at home. Visit ownyour5to9.com to claim your copy today. Life can be generalized as a series of wilderness experiences before we fully experience the promised land. We all get to a point, a crossroads, and nothing is moving. We can get paralyzed by not seeing results. When this happens, it's natural to think that maybe we're doing it all wrong, or maybe I shouldn't be doing this. But let's not lose hope in being stuck, and let's reframe the situation. Here are a few questions to reflect on. Perhaps this is a place where I'm supposed to be. Am I stuck or stationed in this place of protection from an unseen hazard ahead? What am I learning in this season? What am I being prepared for in this season? What can I take away that will help me on the journey down the road? The Israelites spent 40 years supposedly stuck in the wilderness. Or were they stationed? Were they being prepared? Yes. They were tested and blessed. What could have only taken 11 days took 40 years before they took over their promise. But through their wilderness, they were protected, prepared, and equipped for what was ahead. Their promise. If you're in the wilderness season, don't fret. This too could be a place of protection, preparation, and provision. Don't lose the blessing of right now by focusing on the blessing of later. Thank you for listening to the Work-Life Eubiosis podcast, part of the work-life resources created by Own Your 5 to 9. I hope that you have found encouragement and a few ideas to strengthen your journey to purpose, freedom, and balance. Have you overcome burnout and found a new way of life? Millions around the globe are still at the risk of burnout and losing it all. And your story may be the one that sparks not only a dream, but action. Visit ownyour5to9.com for more information and submit your story. While you're there, join the Work-Life Eubiosis newsletter and receive additional resources weekly right to your inbox. If you enjoy this podcast, take time to subscribe, rate, and leave a review. Share it with a friend or loved one. Remember, the most important organization in the world is the family. Let's do our part to strengthen it. Thank you for listening.